Just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. I'm here with the Prince of Penrith, Nathan Cleary. What's going on, brother?
How are you, brother? Good to be here.
Mate, it's good to finally get you on. What's the headspace like? I mean, it feels like this year, with everything that went on, it's kind of like, it was this kind of like whirlwind, and then when the season kind of ended after Origin, everyone was just like, far out, like it's over.
Yeah, it was definitely a whirlwind. It was obviously a pretty big year. It was a pretty long one as well, but it didn't finish the way we wanted to. Probably went like, once I got back from Origin and all that, it was like just like a week of like just head noise pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like far out, like what just happened. Like lost two of the biggest games of my career so far, but then kind of get over that, and you don't want to be too down the dumps, and you get nothing out of that. So last kind of 2-3 weeks just been catching up with people I haven't seen in a while, family, friends, just trying to enjoy the time off and relax.
It's crazy because it's this double-edged sword of like, you're a massive competitor, and like that's what you have to be. Like, you have to care so much, but sometimes like the best champions, their best trait is the ability to move on, the ability to like, okay, this happened, I'm going to use it to drive me, but I can't sit there and just like ruin me off season, stinging me the whole time kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. I think like naturally, I think a lot of footy players would always be kind of thinking about footy, and I'm pretty similar to that. But I think that's one thing I've kind of learned through my career, especially this year, is like if you get too wound up on stuff that's happened in the past or mistakes you've made, it kind of eats you up, and it gives you no kind of room to improve or get better. So that's something I've definitely learned and try to get better at. It's definitely hard. Obviously, it does kind of eat you up a bit, especially when you're not playing that well or you lose some games. But I think trying to move on from that, and as you said, using it as kind of fire to get better and stuff like that.
Absolutely, bro. It's do you want a water?
I'm all good.
You're all good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that weird, but I think these days there's more education around it as well. I think like when I was kind of coming through, it was kind of like you just copped it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas I feel like there's more information out there to go, this actually doesn't help you. It actually scars you and makes you less confident, not help your future kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like last year really helped you for this year, if you know what I mean? Even though this year was incredible for you, like last year was really, really tough. And I think people forget like how tough it was for you last year.
Yeah, definitely. As much as like last year in the moment was like fucking hell, this is horrible. Like, I was hating it. But looking back on it, like I think it was probably, definitely one of the best things that could happen. I think especially experiencing something like that kind of early on in my career as well, where you kind of learn to deal with setbacks, criticism, things not going exactly to plan. I think it's definitely put me in good stead kind of for the future to try to deal with those kind of things. As I said, I'm glad it happened kind of early on. At the time, I was fucking hating it.
Stinging, bro.
Yeah, I was hating it. But I think it's helped me kind of develop, and still a very long way to go. But in terms of that kind of mental space, I think it's definitely helped.
It's one of those things. When I was younger, and I think your generation's much better at like kind of learning from the older guys than we were. Because like when I was younger, they will always just say to me, good footy solves everything. Just play good footy. Like don't worry about anything else. And it wasn't until I got older I realized, you know what, that is really all that matters. Like you can think about it as much as you want, you can stress about it, but just get your head right and play good footy. Yeah,
100%. And at the end of the day, like a week in football is such a it's
you're a hero fucking one week and the worst bloke in the world.
Like, you can swing around so quickly. So I think that comes back to kind of not dwelling on things too much and just trying to be able to kind of use that experience to get better, ripping and training each week, try improve, stuff like that. And these days, as you said, the support cast around you is like, it's unbelievable. It's, just the coaching staff at Penrith, like all of them had played first grade. They all know what they're talking about. They're also helpful. And then you've got players, older guys. I've been very grateful for that. My time at Penrith, I've had a lot of good older guys that have helped me too.
So this year, what do you reckon, coming into this year, I think I might have had you in the top 8, but right on the edges of the top 8. What was there a different feeling at all? Did you or was it just like you guys were confident, but you didn't realize it was going to be a record-breaking year kind of thing?
Yeah, I definitely couldn't have expected what happened, but I think throughout the whole pre-season, like the confidence was just building. I think it's definitely the best pre-season I've had. I think just kind of the group we had, the kind of camaraderie we were kind of building, the energy around, and that kind of just filtered in through the season. I think I think we were like quietly confident during the preseason. Never could
Yeah.
have thought what was going to happen,
Yeah.
but we saw a few people kind of writing us off and stuff like that, and I always thought that would go better than what kind of people were thinking. But it was about doing it on the field, and we had guys just had amazing years this year, like unbelievable. Like I don't think I've ever played in a team where everyone was, so in form and just so in touch with each other and connected and stuff like that. And
you could see it everywhere. Like everywhere you looked when you watched your team, whether it would be off the field, on the field, it's that magic feeling that you can't really describe.
Yeah.
It's just happening.
Mate, that's what it was. It was like at training every day. It was it was the same. Like everyone just turned up and wanted to get better. And even I think that was probably the best thing about it. Like every time we'd win, we'd come back on Monday and everyone would be ready to go. There'd be a lot of energy around. Everyone was kind of happy, which is a feeling when you're winning. But it was a really cool place to be around. And I think just some of the younger guys as well. Just the years they had were. Like Romeo, it was his first full year in first grade. He was getting better each week. Like some
absolutely.
people kind of go through ups and downs, but he was amazing. Bizza, Critter.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys there that were just amazing. Then you've got people like Fish, James Tamo, who were just so consistent every week. Yowie was amazing. It's just too many people to name who just killed it this year.
I mean, you could go through your whole squad, and I didn't see anyone that had a bad year. It's like you don't want to sit here and say people had a bad year, but usually when you look at a team, you can be like, oh, such and such had a quiet year, or like he wasn't as good as he was last year.
100%.
But I honestly feel like every single player probably had a career best year.
Yeah.
Like even Fish, he was great last year, but he was incredible this year.
Unbelievable.
And so at what point did you start to believe like, shit, like we are a premier side, not just like, oh, we're going to top 4, top 6. When did you start really feeling like things are clicking here? We're really, I feel like we could beat anyone.
Yeah, I probably can't pinpoint like one kind of moment. I think, we got a few like good early wins against like real good sides. We obviously
The Roosters at the start.
Roosters at the start, so that was obviously a good one. Then there was Melbourne just after the COVID break into Rabbitohs, I think as well. So a few like teams that were, we knew that were going to be up there that we kind of beat. And I guess the confidence starts to build from there. But I think, just putting wins together, and then there wasn't really any time that we spoke about it. It was probably just the feel amongst it. Everyone was just pumped to be playing each week, like just wanted to play for each other, and it just kind of built, and then it was like far out. We're pretty close to like the semis and that here. We just need to win a few more games, and but I don't think we ever looked too far ahead, which was good. We kind of took it. It's cliche, but 1 week at a time, just trying to get better, and they just kind of stacked up on each other, and just try to keep getting better.
You know, what, 17 in a row, was it?
Yeah, I think it was 17, yeah.
Oh, right.
Not the big one.
Mate, it's so hard to win a grand final, and I think, it's easy to say that, but I think you'll probably appreciate now more than ever, everything has to go right.
Yeah,
even if it's just 20 minutes of not great footy or whatever.
Yeah.
So leading into the finals, when you beat you beat the Rabbitohs. Who'd you beat before the Rabbitohs? You beat
it was Roosters.
So you beat the Roosters
week,
first week. Yeah, that's when I was like, because my prediction was basically that will set the tone. Like whoever wins that will probably go all the way to the finals. Beating the Roosters first week, that probably give you the most confidence out of every game in the final series?
Yeah, I think so. I think there was obviously a few question marks about how it would go in the finals footy and stuff like that. And, to be fair, I think there were a few moments in that game where we were a bit scratchy and probably a bit nervous and stuff like that. But I think just the way we could kind of play our own brand of footy and stuff like that, I think it gave us confidence, especially against a team like the Roosters. Like, they're the championship team. They're absolutely stacked. And, to get a win against them gave us a lot of confidence, but also gave us, I think, keen to get better in that as well. We knew we had to get better to beat South that next week, and then, try and improve through the finals. It
was what I liked about the Roosters game was there were moments where they were turning the screws, and I feel like maybe you guys last year it would have broke, the pressure would have broke you.
Yeah.
Whereas I was really impressed with when this pressure kept increasing, your ability to withhold that pressure was really, really good.
Yeah.
It's probably what got you through that 17 wins,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think just through our defence was mainly what kind of was that win streak was all about. It was, as you said, I think last year when the pressure was kind of turned up, we just would kind of crumble, and our defence just gave us no chance. But this year, like, just our kind of turning up for each other, scramble, stuff like that, which is what you need to be kind of up there. And
absolutely, bro. Even I was like, this will be the test of, like, you know, finals footy and that. But yeah, so you got the job done. Then what about grand final week? What was that like with the boys? Because they were up in Sunny Coast. I reckon it was actually fortunate that they were out of, you know, the huge fucking, I guess, celebration. Was it big for you guys, or not really that big this year?
I guess it was a bit different. Like, everyone kind of talks about grand final week, you have to do a lot of stuff, but like this year, because of COVID, we couldn't really do much. So we kind of had like media on the Sunday, I think it was. Then a couple of media things, photo shoots at the start of the week. But then from there, it was pretty much
how good was that?
As per. So it was good. Like, it was a good feel around. You could tell, like, the Penrith community just like loved their footy. Like, it was almost like, it was a bit of a shame that we couldn't really feel it like in amongst it, because we couldn't really get out in that. But you could definitely feel like you had people send you messages all the time, and you could just, like, there were shops and that just had like Penrith gear everywhere, and like, it was awesome. And that was probably the main thing. Like, everyone was just getting behind you, and that was probably the main difference. But in terms of like the training week, it was pretty similar. What's good about Penrith as well is, like, it's such a footy area that, like, don't get me wrong, other teams would get their local area around them, but Penrith is like such a massive, like, you know, they've got such a huge base that, like, it's kind of like its own little city. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that's what I love about, like, the Penrith community get so behind anything that's going good in Penrith, and you know, everyone loves their footy out there. It's sometimes it can be good and bad. You know, if you have a loss, probably won't go to the shops that week. But when you have a win, you know, there's everyone coming up to you, congratulating you on that. So
okay, so leading
cool.
into the finals, what when you came out, you were pumped. Like, I saw you running out, and you looked like ready to go. Like, didn't look flat, didn't look anything. What was the feeling running out to that final?
Yeah, I think everyone, as you said, you know, everyone was just kind of ready to go. I think it was a bit jittery kind of beforehand. Everyone was just ready to play. Like, I guess, you know, sometimes in the warm up and that, you're just like, oh, I just want to, like, get out there, just sitting around, like, waiting. But
and you're looking at the clock. 40 minutes.
100%. But I think everyone was pretty ready to go, and you know, I think we even like had a pretty decent start, but we just to Melbourne's credit, they were scrambling really well, and you know, we got pulled down short a couple of times and just couldn't really ice the final pass, and then. From there, the rest of the first half was just like, fuck. And it was just.
What was the speech like at the half time?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like, it was kind of just trying to get us all up, like, just trying to give us a bit of belief in that. You know, I think that was probably like a hard thing looking back on it for me, which I wish I could have changed. Like, I was just thinking about a few things in that first half where I was just like, fucking hell, like, just like let the boys down, like, just fucking. It's the biggest stage, and I've done that. But you know, I think everyone kind of rallied around that at half time and was like, oh, you know, just have a bit of belief. Like, we've got nothing to lose now. It's the last game of the year, and fortunately, it came out in the first half, and Pappy scored that long range try. But then after that, it was kind of like started to rally and stuff like that. But it was a bit late.
Man, it's like the silver lining is that you fought back. Like, a lot of the last thing you would have wanted in a grand final that could have really shot you was like you go out second half and get fucking pumped.
Yeah.
Whereas I kind of feel like the positive for you guys is that second half. I think you would have taken a lot of confidence out of that, in the sense of, like, God, this is all we need to do. Like, we just need to, if you do make it to a finals again, that's all you need to do. But yeah, I actually think that I agree. Like, I think Melbourne Storm's defense was one of the most probably underrated things of that game, because like you were up there, you had the field position, like everything was going really well for you. But what do you reckon? What's the main takeaway? Like, the main takeaway for you personally from that grand final, in the sense of, like, if you make another grand final, what will you do differently in the game?
I just reckon it's just about, like, not getting too flustered about the scoreboard or what's happening, just trying to stick to, like, you know, what works for us. We're probably trying to make it up a bit at stages there, and trying to come up with the miracle play to try to get back in the game, where looking back on it, like, we were in the game, but even when it was 12-0 and stuff like we were still in the game. Like, it can swing so easily. Absolutely. I just saw it like the end of the game. So it's probably just trying to stay in it, stick to what you know and what works, and the game plan and stuff like that, and not trying to, you know, come with it yourself, kind of rally together. And you know, I think it's just doing the simple things well. I think I was saying that I'm probably frustrated about, like, looking back on it, was, you know, I thought about that through the week, like, that it was all process, little things, stuff like that. But, you know, once you're in the moment, I probably didn't do that well enough. And It probably cruelled us a bit, which is frustrating. Just trying to, it's almost frustrating that the way we played that game, especially that first half, was just it was so out of character to what we'd been doing the whole year.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Like it was, all year what you were so good was with like when the pressure built, you just stuck to repeat sets, everything like that. But I mean, all you got to do for you personally is like look at Munster, like his first grand final. He didn't play great at all. Like the moment got to him, he fucking kicked the dude in the head, got sent off twice. And look at now, he's a big game player. Now he's one of the best big game players. So I guess you can turn around. Like Hodjo, he had the worst fucking Origin debut in history, and then he became one of the best. You know what I mean? So all these, you just like you'll learn the good thing is you're the second youngest squad in the comp, so you boys will learn so much from that. And again, the positive is that you didn't let the game get away from you. I thought that showed a lot of character from your boys because, as I said, like a Melbourne Storm that's just a tidal wave over you, and for you guys to I guess come back into it and pretty much nearly fucking get back into the game. Okay, so that happens. What was the next? So obviously you get selected for New South Wales. What was the celebrations like? Did you enjoy that, or was it a bit bittersweet?
It was a bit like bittersweet. It was obviously always a great honour to get selected for New South Wales and being able to have the opportunity to wear the Blues jersey again. But it was like after the grand final, it was just like felt like a nightmare. I was just like,
just reliving it constantly.
Yeah, like it was just like sitting there. I was just like, fuck, did that really just happen?
Yeah.
But
we went the whole year. Yeah, so good,
and then it just happens like that, and it's like, fuck, you just like wish you could relive it. But but once I got into camp and that, like it was sweet. Like I barely even thought about the grand final. Like all the boys were mad, coaching staff was mad. Just kind of thought about my next job really. Like probably didn't think about the grand final too much till after Origin. Then it kind of all hit me. So getting into the camp was probably like a real good thing. And as I said, everyone there was awesome and ready to get on with the job.
It's and then Origin. Did it feel different to the last 2 years for you because of the fucking at the end of the year and the bubble and everything?
Yeah, it was a little bit different. I think especially like that first game was a bit. Yeah, it was just like a bit weird. But
the first game definitely, even from outside in, it was like it felt like Origin but not. I think the second game felt more like Origin than the third one.
Like the Suncorp one definitely felt like Origin. Like obviously with the full crowd and that. But it was a bit weird like doing it back to back to back. But I didn't really mind it. Like it's cool being able to be in camp with all the boys for like 3 weeks straight. Man,
I reckon they should. I honestly believe they should do middle of the year, block out 4 weeks, and they should have Samoa, Tonga, like all those teams playing in that same make it a block. Like I think is it NBA they do like a Magic Month or some shit like that.
Yeah, well they got like international week in like soccer and stuff like that as well. It's like I reckon it's a pretty good idea.
Yeah,
and then it doesn't really affect like the NRL comp that much. Like you don't have people pulling out.
Yeah,
and stuff
exactly.
Like that, so.
And also, like, it gives, like, Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, PNG, like, opportunities to earn, not obviously the same because it's not as big, but they can grow,
you know? 100%.
They can get an opportunity.
People would love that stuff,
So, obviously, you guys, obviously lose the series and that. I guess that was just another, like, fuck, this is a nightmare kind of situation. You know what sucks is, like, you had such an incredible year, but you're just going to be, you're not going to be focused on that, but... like it ends like that, and it just bitters the whole...
That's the last thing in your mind. Yeah, that's the last thing you remember. I was speaking to Yoey actually on the bus back after that third Origin, and I was like, fucking hell, like, I had such an enjoyable year, but like, pretty much 2 games.
Just ruin the whole year.
Just ruin it, and they're the games you play for, though, so I guess it gives you more motivation to get back there, and it's probably will feel better if you can get back there and actually win one now that you've got the hurt of losing one, but... it definitely it fucking hurts,
mate. It was, you know what? It was just like everything that could go wrong in the sense of like Queensland, everything that go right for them went right for them, and then like obviously losing Teddy in that first 10 minutes was like that's a disaster. But anyway, so take us back to a young Nath. So you grew up. Were you born in New Zealand?
Nah, I was born in Wahroonga actually. So I was a Northern Beaches boy.
Northern Beaches.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Mum and Dad are both from out there, so. Spent the first 3-4 years growing up in Coleroy, and then moved over to New Zealand. Actually probably had like 2 years there. Dad played I think 2 years, came back for a year, and then moved back over when Dad was coaching.
He was coaching. What years were you there?
I think I was first one over there. It would have been 19. I would have been like 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
It would have been like 1999.
Yep.
Finished in 2002.
Yep.
Came back 2003 and 4, and then went back 2005, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was it like? Did you enjoy living in New Zealand?
Yeah, I liked it. Like it was a pretty cruisy lifestyle. Like kind of
Yeah.
suited us as a family, I guess. And yeah, we enjoyed it. Like we travelled all New Zealand. It was
beautiful,
pretty cool.
eh?
Yeah, it's awesome. It was unreal.
Queenstown, man.
Yeah,
I want to live in
mate,
Queenstown.
It's the best. It's the best.
I took the missus there like earlier this year, and
Yeah.
we were like, "This is heaven on earth."
It's outstanding. Eh? It's
I
so
could
good.
honestly live there.
Yeah.
So like from a young age, obviously your father was like such a good player. Was it just like always you were going to play footy, or what was the kind of feeling? Was it like your dad was just like, "Look, just whatever you want to do, you can do, and it's sweet," or was it always like, "Nah, I've got to play footy"?
Nah, they were always like real cruisy with it. Like mum and dad didn't really care what I did. Like I played soccer up until I was probably about 12.
Oh,
And then-
really?
yeah.
So you didn't play footy?
I wasn't straight into footy. Nah.
Wow.
Like I'd always loved footy. Like it's actually funny. I reckon more of like the footy comes from mum's side than dad's side.
No way.
Yeah, so her brother and her dad both played. Both played
mental.
NRL. Yeah, so it was pretty crazy. Like mum's pretty into footy as well. She,
Mate, your
she just can't
genetics,
avoid
you're
it.
like, you were made for footy, literally.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think, I always say that. I'm like, I reckon it comes more from mum's side.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks dad, but,
So who's her team then? Before Penny Panthers?
she was pretty, like, cruisy. Like, she
Yeah.
knows about footy, but she wasn't, like, into it. Yeah.
But she just like enjoyed
Like, she
footy.
just kind of follows. So,
Yeah.
like, her brother played for North Sydney Bears. So
Okay.
that's how her and dad kind of met.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was pretty crazy. But,
Oh, wait, so your dad was playing against or for North Sydney Bears?
for North Sydney, yeah. So both
No
were playing
way.
together at the same time.
That's
yeah.
crazy, bro.
And then, but I've always loved footy. Like growing
Yeah.
up, like always loved it, always watched it. Just didn't play it. I don't know why, but I liked soccer too. I liked a lot of sports. And then
Did you always excel? Did you excel at soccer or just?
I
okay
was pretty average. Like,
Yeah.
I just liked playing it. Yeah.
So
I
you were
think
the next
by the
Messi?
end of it, I was like centre back, just because I was like a bit
bigger
bigger
and
and
rougher.
a bit tougher. Yeah, but
Mate, to be tougher in soccer, it's not that hard. Trust me. Trust me. I was considered tough in soccer.
well, I couldn't score the goals, so I was just like out the back.
Just fucking 2-foot stud cunt.
And then kind of filtered back into footy when I was about 12. I just wanted to play.
And so, did you immediately just be like, "Fuck, this is what I want to do," or was it a growing thing?
I think so. I think like I'd always loved footy, and like if people had asked me when I was younger what I wanted to be, like I'd always say a footy player, even though I wasn't playing. And then started playing, and just loved it. There's nothing kind of like it, I guess. Like the highs you can feel through footy, and the kind of mates you can make is something that I love about it. And
So, were your first games in New Zealand, or
yeah.
Okay.
So I've probably played about 2 or 3 years in New Zealand.
What club did you play for?
Mount Albert Lions.
Mount Albert.
Yeah.
Far out, so they can claim you.
Yeah, they can claim me for sure.
So what year was that? That would have been what 2000, like 1999 or 2001 too.
So when I started playing, it would have been like 2008 or 9, maybe
8 or 9.
Yeah.
Oh, so you were at New Zealand when I was over in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So 2009.
Yeah.
Were you a ball boy then? Nah, you
I
were
don't know.
younger.
I don't know.
would've been
Yeah,
younger.
I was like I came around training a bit, but
Really?
yeah.
Fucking hell, bro. My head was off when I was over there. Man, I had the worst relationship issue. I was in an abusive relationship.
Really? Yeah. That doesn't help.
Mate, it was like a recipe for disaster. Went over there with a chick. She was like, just, treated me so poorly.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I realised, like, your head has to be right. Like,
Yeah,
my head was
fucking
just
oath.
off over there,
Yeah.
and which I'm really disappointed because I think Auckland's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I really loved the Warriors Club. I think
100%.
they unique. Like, I've been to like 3 clubs all up, and at the Warriors, the club I feel actually takes care of the players. It's like a family kind of feel.
Yeah.
Whereas like the Broncos is like a bit more. It's still good. Like Broncos is my favourite,
yeah.
but I don't know. There's like a family feel.
I think because of that, there's always like a soft spot for the Warriors for me. Like even though I never played for them, but just being able to like grow up around it, and as you said, like they're real good with families, like real inclusive, and it's definitely always a soft spot.
Okay, so you started playing, and then what age did you move back to Australia then?
So I moved back in 2000, I think it was 12.
2012.
So I would have been about 14 or 15 when I moved back.
And so when you moved back, who'd you start playing for then?
I played for Penrith Brothers.
Okay.
So it was like the local team. I went to St. Dom's out there, so a lot of my mates were playing there, and yeah.
And how'd you, like, what was it? At what point did you start going, well, like, I'm actually excelling at this and I'm doing a bit better than, the pack or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I was just like still at that stage. I was just kind of
Just doing it
like
'cause you loved it.
just liking playing footy. I think in saying that, though, I think moving to Australia was probably like the best thing for me. Like I think just because of like I don't know, I just felt like over there just I was all right, but I wasn't really playing that good. Like and then over here it kind of becomes a bit more like you can make something out of this.
The pathways,
yeah.
There's more pathways.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
especially at Penrith. Like it's like so lucky to fall into that system. Then I think I was lucky enough to make Harold Mats at the end of that year.
Yep.
And even after that, like it was like still just liking it. And then it was probably the year after that.
So 16, about 16ish.
Yeah, about 16. Like got into the SU ball team and then started to play all right. And it starts to get a bit more like
serious.
A bit more serious. And it's probably there where I was like, I definitely want to play footy, but maybe I can give it like a red hot crack.
And so we always half.
Actually, in Harold Mats started. The start of the year, I was playing like hooker, bench hooker.
Oh,
so
really?
Played a bit of that.
Fucking hell.
First ever rugby league game, actually, I played hooker, so
Okay.
played a little bit of that. But
I might move you into the hooker by the end of your career.
I don't want to be in the middle. Don't say that.
Anyone looking for a hooker? Utility?
Number 14.
Oh, man.
But,
it's got to be the torturous role ever. You've got to play everywhere and anywhere, and you just got to cop it.
I have massive admiration for hookers and that as well.
Mate,
like, just
torture.
Especially the ones that I've seen. Like Peter Wallace, who's just
tough, so tough.
Like, toughest player.
He started as half.
Yeah, I know. That's right. I've been saying it to him.
Right.
I'm like, I can't do that.
Just saying, bro. You could follow the same path. Okay, so you started hooker, but then you obviously moved to half.
Yeah.
Did you make the 16 New South Wales side or the 18's New South Wales
No,
side?
I didn't make either of them. So there was
any state sides.
Jack Cogger and Brock Lamb. They were like the two halves coming through. They were like,
Wow.
they were guns. So
Far out.
I wasn't really when I was that age. I wasn't really like killing it. Like
Wow, that's crazy to think
Yeah.
that. Like to think that because you came on the scene very strong. Like it wasn't like it took you a while to lean into your career. So was there when you didn't make those sides? Was there disappointment or was it just kind of like it's all what it is?
it was a bit of disappointment, but to be fair, like I didn't feel like I deserved to be in those sides. So it wasn't like I got ripped off or anything. It was just like they were better. They were better than me at the time. They were playing way better and. So yeah, I was just kind of like you always want to make those things. So I guess it gives you motivation to try get better, and that's something that I've always wanted to do is try get better no matter where I'm at.
And so when you're turning 18, is that when you got offered a contract with the Penrith Panthers?
So I got offered when I was like 17. Got offered this like contract, and I kind of sat down with Dad.
Okay, so your goal was by 21 years old. Be put into the top squad.
That was so. Yeah, pretty much said that. I was like, when you turn 21, like that's the year you can kind of give it a real crack to try cracking into first grade. That's the kind of pathway like we were going with. Yeah, and obviously it filters into the next year. Dad got sacked, and then I was just like still just had that same sort of mindset. I think I played the first like 10 or so games in 20s.
Did it ever worry you? Obviously Dad got moved on. Did it worry you? Because it's your dad, and you're like, oh well, is that going to affect me if they don't want my dad here, they don't want me here, or not really? Was it just?
Not really. Like they were always like to me, they were fine. Like obviously, I was pretty shattered for Dad at the time. Like, that was pretty hard. But to me, like I thought it'd almost be like a good thing to kind of crack it into first grade, because I think there was always that kind of worry around if like Dad gave me the start like too early. Yep. Then it would be like, fuck, he's only playing
totally.
Business,
Totally.
So it was probably
which is false, because as if your dad would ever do that.
Yeah, well, I think it would have been the other way around with Dad. Like he would have waited probably longer.
Well, he was going to wait till you're 21.
Yeah, well, exactly.
So fucking how good's that?
So in hindsight, it worked out well for me. But
just walk into a house tomorrow and be like, oh, Dad, I just want to let you know it was good that you got sacked all those years ago. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, fuck. But it was pretty crazy how it worked. Yeah, and then played like the first 10 games in 20s. I think I played one cup game, and then around that sort of time, I think they upgraded my contract to be in the first grade squad.
So was you, when you got called into, were you training with first grade yet or not?
Nah, not yet. So I'd done 1 week with first grade in the preseason. I was like pumped with that.
Did you remember that first? Is there any session that you remember with first grade where you're like, fuck, this is hectic?
I just remember like it was a bit of like sort of edge on edge stuff. And just like the intensity of it was just like, holy shit, this is different. Yeah. Like, you need to be on every play, and like I probably wasn't ready for that at the time. And I think I played like a little bit of a like NRL trial that weekend, and I didn't play real well. So I was kind of like got the taste for it, but I was like, fuck, I want to be back there, but I need to get better.
Yeah.
And then and then it was probably like after about however many 20s games, was lucky enough to start training with them. And then it was like the same thing again. I was like, fuck, like just the talk and stuff like that. Like I was pretty quiet, and like they were just kind of telling me, I need to find my voice, and you had to, because they were all talking, like the intensity was crazy, and
especially at half as well.
Yeah,
like, you
100%.
need to be telling the boys like, get fucking in.
That was
get here.
that's probably been my biggest like I guess challenge growing up and stuff like that, and still is. I think I can still get better at it, but
yeah, it's such a hard thing, because like you want to respect the people that are already there. Like it's so important to respect the older senior players, but at the same time you need to be confident enough to be like telling him, you fucking get here when I need you here.
Yeah, 100%.
It's so hard, bro. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, when they upgraded your contract, was that when you were really like, okay, this is happening now. This is happening.
I kind of thought like, this is mad. Like I'm there like training with these boys every day. Like people have.
Who were you the most starstruck by?
At the start, it was probably like Sauce, eh?
Oh, the Sauce.
The Sauce. I don't know.
Josh
Just used to,
Mansell.
like, he used to have this like persona and that. Like, he was like, he was cool, and you used to always see him walking with his shirt off. And
It's straight out of his mind. The Adonis.
So it was pretty cool to just like rub shoulders with them, and then I always loved like Wall, just because of how tough he was.
So tough, bro.
He
was at the Broncos when I was at the Broncos.
Yeah, mate, he's a fucking. Can't talk highly enough of him.
He's like, he was one of the most underrated players like at the time. Like he was such
100%.
a steady half.
Yeah.
Like,
but if you like talk to people that played with him, like they'll all say like how
100%.
good he was. It's probably
Absolutely.
just like other people.
Yeah. Okay. So you get to that first. So this would have been 2016. Okay.
Yeah.
And so you make New South Wales Cup debut round 11. Then you extend your contract, and then so 2 days after signing in round 13, you make your NRL debut?
Yeah, I think it was. I don't know when the contract stuff happened, but it was like, I think we had like a bye after that New South Wales Cup game.
Okay.
And then, I was training during the week with first grade, and then I think on the Monday or Tuesday, Hook called me into the office.
Yep.
Were you expecting it? Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. Like, there were a few people like saying it. Like, they're like, oh, mate.
But you don't want to believe it, eh?
But I was like, oh, fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
And then he called me in, and I remember, I can't remember what he said. Like, it was
your
just
head's
like,
off.
I was just like, I remember walking in, I was like, this actually like could be.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, like, I'm gonna give you a game this week. And I was just instantly like, I don't know what happened. Like, I was just like instantly just nervous and just like sweating. I was just like, holy fuck. Like, when I made my NRL debut, like, this is mad. Like,
And it's here the Storm as well.
yeah, like down in Melbourne too. And I was just like, I don't know. I don't even know what I was thinking. I was just like, just all hit me. Like, I was like, I've wanted to do this my whole life. And it's like, I'm actually going to get to do it. Yeah.
And so your mum was stoked.
Yeah, like they were just pumped. And then like, I got a pretty big like family, like aunties and uncles that are pretty close. And, they were all like stoked. So that was probably like one of the coolest things, I reckon, just being able to tell them and,
Absolutely.
Making them kind of proud, I guess. And
That's honestly it's the best part of it. It's like knowing that your family is like so proud that you're representing them as well.
Yeah, 100%.
And so going down to, is there anything that your dad said to you before your debut that was just kind of look, just do what you do, or what did he say to you?
I think this is one thing that he's like always says to me, like going into like whenever I've kind of stepped up a grade, he's just always like, do the little things well. The little things are more important the higher level you get. So that was, I can't really remember what else he said to me, but that was all he said. Like, he just kind of said, tackle well, kick well, and just back yourself. And
yeah, it's so true though. Like, especially when you first get into NRL, just like do your job.
Yeah.
And everyone else does their job.
Yeah.
And then you can build off that. That's the foundation for everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go down to Melbourne, and what do you're sitting in a change room, and it's like so bizarre. You're looking across, you're seeing the jerseys, you're like, holy shit, there's such and such jersey. What was that feeling like? And you're with the NRL boys.
Yeah, it still felt like surreal. Like, I just couldn't believe it was happening. I think I was roomie with Mez.
Yep.
And
Oh,
like
Trent
that,
Merrin?
yeah. So I was like, even that was like cool. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, I get to room with Mez.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, it was just surreal. Like, I couldn't believe it was actually happening. And then I was just like, I just remember being like so nervous. Like, I was just so nervous. Like, I didn't want to fuck up. And
Just
then,
like that anxiety.
yeah,
Like,
but just like sitting around, like as you said, just sitting around the sheds, I was just like, this is actually going to happen. Like, I was just pretty pumped.
yeah, and it's like taking forever, but it's also happening so quickly.
Yeah, like
and
it
it's
was felt so slow, but like it was
Oh.
coming around quick as well.
And then when you run out to do the warm up and the kicking and that, did you run out to do that kicking?
Yeah, so we went out and did warm up and that, and
That
like,
rattles you, I
just
reckon.
even seeing like the crowd and that starting to come in down in Melbourne, obviously,
Yeah.
and
And the
yeah, it was-
stadium's just like on you.
yeah, it just felt like everything was so close. And,
Yep.
but it was pretty cool. The game was, I can't really remember the game that much.
Didn't you do like 40 tackles or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. I knew straight away too. The first set, they just like channeled me, and I was just, they pretty much said, we're coming at you the whole game.
Well,
And I
they
was
said
like,
that to you.
Yeah, and I was like,
Who
oh,
said that to you?
fuck I think it
Kronk?
was Jesse Bromwich. Like, I think I kicked it, and as I was running past, he kind of like ran next to me and was like, fucking get ready. I was like, oh, beauty.
Oh man! And so in your head, were you just like, look, I'm just gonna tackle my ass off, like
Yeah,
just-
well, I was just kind of playing as it come, and then after that first set, I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to fucking get the shoulder day tonight. I remember looking up, I think it was like 7 minutes gone, and I was thinking, I don't think I can fucking get through this. I don't know if I can do this,
Doing
eh?
these ones.
And then you
Yeah.
kind of get your second wind, and then
Yep.
you get into the game. But
Yep.
even though, like, we got pumped that game, like, but it was just like so cool being out there, like, and it just made me realize that this is what I want to do.
Absolutely,
like, this
absolutely.
is mad.
Was it kind of not shocking, but seeing how clinical Melbourne was, and like they see a debutant, they just send traffic. Did you learn a lot from that game as well, of where you needed to be?
100%. Like, it was just like, they were the best, you know.
Yeah.
And, just the way they could execute game plan and stuff like that, there was no better. It was pretty cool actually to be able to debut against like Cameron Smith and Cooper Cronk. I don't think Billy played that game, but just seeing them in like action was just like, I think in one time I got like, it was just like looking up, I was like, fuck, they're there, like
It's right there,
playing against them. Like, it's pretty crazy, but
100%.
it was cool to see them, and then even just seeing how they went about it, even though they fucking pumped us. But,
just crazy, like 40 tackles. That's just insane. What a baptism by fire.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're 18 at that stage, and you remained halfback for the rest of that season?
Yeah, so I think there was like, I don't know how many games, but we ended up making the semis and got knocked down the second week.
Yep. Okay, and so you were part of the Blues emerging squad that year too, so that would have been that would have been the first Blues squad you'd made, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was, it was pretty crazy. Like, I think didn't, like, till the end of the year was not till it, like, sunk in, like, that whole year I was just kind of riding the wave. I was just like, this is fucking
It's
crazy.
just like a blur, like,
I was just like, it was a massive blur. And then, obviously got picked in the emerging Blues and was like, this is sick. Like, I was very grateful for that.
Okay, so 17 rolls around, and you finish as the highest point scorer and the youngest player to achieve that since 1913. That was, I reckon, outside of this year, was 2017 probably your best year, you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, probably.
Because that was a year when it was just like everything seemed to be working for you. And did you? Because like usually it's second year is when people struggle. Did you feel it went better because you were more confident? What do you reckon the reason was for the good form in 17?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think I think just with a year under my belt, I probably did feel a bit confident. Felt like I probably belonged a bit more. It was my first pre-season. I think after your first NRL pre-season, you feel a lot better about yourself.
100%.
Probably get a bit bigger in that.
Yep.
And then I think I was just grateful for another opportunity and didn't want to waste it. And I was lucky enough that we had like a few up and downs that year, but we were playing some pretty good footy and had some pretty strike players around me. I think, Moyes was still killing it then, and it was good.
Man, it sucks when Moyes has struggled with injury and that, but it's how quickly people forget how good these guys were.
That 2016 year when my debut year, he was fucking unbelievable. He was like
so silky, man.
Some of the stuff he was doing was I haven't played with a player like that. Like he was crazy.
Just like it's hard to explain to a player like him as well, because like he's not overly quick and he's not overly big, but he's like ball playing, but also his footwork and his timing.
Just like taking moments as well. Like he was so good at that. Like, short side stuff like that. Like he'd just pop up at the right time. And he was a freaking freak.
It sucks because like people just like quickly forget how good players were, and
even some of the games he played this year, like he was killing it.
Oh, 100%.
It was just like, I feel for him because if he can get right, like I still reckon he's a gun.
There was a period there where he was like the shit. He was the man.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next year rolls around, and I guess you're going into that year pretty confident, but you're injure your knee in round 3.
Yeah.
And then you come back in round 11, and so you have 2 games, and you get selected for New South Wales squad after playing really well. Who'd you beat? Panthers. Anyway, you played really well, so you get selected for New South Wales after playing 2 games. Was it 2 games?
Yeah.
Was that like fuck? Like, did it rattle you at all, or not? You were like, I've just got to put my head down and get the job done here.
No, again, it was pretty crazy. Like, I think those 2 games, like coming back, I was very lucky, like with the support stuff, like the rehab and that.
Yep.
Guy called Adrian Jimenez. He put a lot of time to me when I did my knee, and like he just gave me real confidence coming back. Like, I felt like I was sweet. Like, I wasn't worried about the injury or nothing. And then,
which is really good.
100%. Like, I was so worried about that when it first happened, like just trying to get back to what I was doing. But when I got back, I felt like 100%. And lucky enough, we played all right those 2 games. Then I think.
Do you remember the phone call?
Yeah, I think Brandy was the one that called me. And again, Mum and Dad weren't home at the time. He called me, and I was just like, it was just like butterflies straight away.
Yeah.
And then it was just like pumped. But that was pretty cool. Like, I've always been a massive fan of New South Wales. Like, always loved watching New South Wales. I was lucky enough to be at the game in 2014 when they like broke the drought.
Oh, really?
So I was like,
you would have been how old then? Like 16?
Yeah, 16 or something. Yeah.
Yep.
So that was like mad. And then to be able to like have the opportunity to do it, like I just felt like so like grateful and just like happy at the same time. And
because it's like to play for your state. That's like, don't get me wrong, playing for your country is incredible, but there's just something about like state of origin.
Yeah.
It's every kid's dream.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so you get selected, you go into camp. What do you remember from the camp? Is there anything particular?
Not really. I think just like it was kind of that feeling of you're rubbing shoulders again with like the best players like Teddy and all that were in there, and it was like, this is cool. Like,
the quality of like training and that would have been hectic.
Yeah, it was like unreal. Like just like details and stuff like that was like so good, and it's something that probably could have taken back to club as well. Like just details and all stuff like that was just like top notch. And, it was cool. Like you have Freddie's pretty good, like the bonding sessions and that. You have them early on.
What was that? What was the was that your first interactions with Freddie?
Kind of like Dad and Freddie are like pretty good mates. Okay. So like I've kind of known Freddie like growing up and seen him here and there, but that was the first time I probably spent like
doing like the earthing and shit or whatever.
Yeah, the earthing and that. Yeah, I used to do that at like 7 in the morning in the middle of winter.
No, it's like, freezing.
Yeah, it's freezing. But it was like cool. It was something different.
I think it's great. I think it's really smart because like when you get into Origin, again, like this is me speaking. I've fucking never played Origin, so not my advice, but I feel like it's good to shock the system and like take you out of that normal day-to-day routine that 100%. You normally do to make you feel like this is something different. This is something like that you need to be switched on for. Okay, so do you remember your first game? You put on that jersey. Where was your first game at? Was it down in
Melbourne?
Melbourne?
Yeah. MCG.
MCG. Yeah, what was that like?
It was crazy. Like I just remember running out, and there was just like a coliseum. Like it was just all around. It's just like filled with people.
Far
like
out.
So loud. Like because you warm up in the sheds. Like you don't really get a like gist of what's going on out there or like what the crowd's going to be like. I just remember running out. I was just like looking up. I was like, "This is a dream. This is like."
You got
crazy.
The Blues jersey on.
Yeah, it was mad. Like it was an unbelievable feeling. And
do you remember anything from the game?
Greg Inglis pumped me. Actually, I do remember that. Like I got out the back of Jake, and I think I was kind of running across here, and GI just like smashed me. Yeah, I was just like, all right, this is Origin.
This is Origin.
But
I feel like everyone's got a GI story of getting smashed.
Oh, mate.
I say it, everyone listening to this podcast is going to roll their eyes. I say it every single week, but I've still got a chipped tooth from Greg Inglis fending my face. I'm not replacing it. I want to keep it.
100%.
I'm keeping that shit.
I'm happy with that.
Okay, so that's kind of woke you up like, shit, I'm in Origin. I just got shotted by Greg Inglis, one of the greatest Origin players of all time.
Yeah, and I think just like the game, like I just remember the game, like it was just different. Like it was so fast, but it was like kind of physical. You could probably get away with a lot more stuff as well. And it was like it's easily the hardest game I'd played. And then,
Okay, so the next week rolls around, and you won just the first two that Series A, and so you cleaned it. You cleaned it up in that second game. What was that feeling like? You've won your first Origin
it
series.
was like, it was at ANZ too. So it was like, it was honestly like a dream. Like it felt like I'd been there and watched it happen, but then to be on the field, like it's still like hard to like fathom it now. Like it's just like I'm a part of that. Like it's super special, and it's
like folklore, but you get to be a part of
it.
Yeah,
like I just remember at the end of the game, like everyone just jumped on each other, and it was just like, it's a feeling that's pretty hard to describe. But
because that broke another, they'd won 15, 16, 17. That was another. That broke 3 in a row.
Yeah,
and so that would have been the boys would have been fucking so stoked.
Yeah, so it was awesome. It was
okay, so you win that one, and then did you take a lot of confidence going back into? Oh, actually, I could be wrong. So pull me up if I'm wrong. But was this the year where it seemed like you were a bit tired towards the end of the year, 2018? Was that something that you felt?
Yeah. I reckon like the way I dealt with the whole like Origin thing after it probably wasn't the best. Like just mentally, I think going into Origin, like I was mainly thinking like, oh, it's real physical. Like it might take a toll on my body, but like mentally, it was a shock to the system. Like I didn't have anything in place to really deal with that. I guess just the media around it. And this was like when we won, so it was like a bit weird, but I guess just like so much media attention around it. Then because you're an Origin player now, you're not the young kid anymore.
So
like,
true.
You got to be playing good every single week.
Yep.
And probably just didn't understand that well enough. And and then I wasn't playing real good at the end of that year. And then it was like, I need to sort this out.
It's true, like, because you're totally right. You are aware of the physical side of things, but you're not prepared for mental. Because like you get up and it's this like this explosion of just a whirlwind. You know what I mean? Origin's like a whirlwind, especially being the young guy. You're this young kid that's making his debut, and then you win the series, and you're on this incredible high, and then you go back to club footy, and as you said, like you were expected every week now to be one of the best players in the comp, not just in the game, in the comp.
Yeah.
And so did that kind of like, were you aware that it was happening in the time, or was it only till after you look back and you say, fuck, that actually really rattled me a bit?
I guess like at the time, like sort of, like it was probably a bit like trying to push it away, like, nah, I'm sweet.
Yeah. Well, you've got to, otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but I think back then, like I was reading everything, like I was reading every article, anything that anyone was saying.
Yeah.
And I guess it does take a toll on you. And then it wasn't until the end of that year where I was like, fuck, it actually did. Like I didn't handle that very well. Like,
mate, my year at the Bronx, I was going really well. It's not like you're actively pursuing reading things about you, but when it gets put in front of you, you'll read it.
And then it's like a rabbit hole, you just end up.
And then you go down it. And so Wayne actually pulled me up. He's like, and I had like a game where I didn't even play that bad, but I just didn't execute the way I should have executed. Yeah. So it was still a good game, just not at the standard it was before. And Wayne just said, mate, you've been reading the papers, haven't you? And I was like, fuck, man, he's so right. And so like, you got to learn to not only not read the papers, but actively avoid it. If it gets put in front of you, just don't look at it.
Yeah, 100%.
And so is that where you probably first, I mean, I'm assuming probably the next year as well is when you really learned, like, just don't fucking look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that year rolls around. You win, it's still an incredible year for you, though. You fucking win the series. 2019. Now, this was... man, this was a really tough year for you. Like, I remember just, like, the amount of people that, like... I just kept saying, like, bro, like, he's fucking 21 years old. Like, let's just fucking relax here. Yeah. What was that like for you too? Because this was, so Maloney came to the club in 18 or
2018,
19? 18. Yeah. And like the promise was kind of like you and Maloney, you could potentially, you were a top 4 side, actually. Yeah. What was 2019 like for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a tough year. Obviously, Dad came over, so that was the massive story in the pre-season. It was obviously already a lot of like media attention, stuff like that. So that was that was the big story. And because of the way it went at the Tigers, like, I think, he regrets how it happened. Like, everyone kind of regrets it, I guess. But I think he knew that he wanted to come to Penrith. Like, it was just the opportunity that for us to link up. Like, if it didn't happen then, it might never have happened.
Yeah, well, probably wouldn't have. Really wouldn't
so
have.
It's like, I think, the way it happened, like, Tigers all Tigers fan base was just hating on him. So that kind of, and then so there's obviously a lot of media attention around. Then, kind of rolled into the year, and the start was just like, it was a horror show. It was like, I think we were 2-8.
Yep.
And like we were meant to be like, there was big raps on us at the start of the year, and we were just playing terrible. And then obviously again, like I was definitely not handling it very well. Like I was reading everything. I was just like, and it was just like, I think it was just letting it affect me, which affected the team, which then like, that was probably the thing I was most filthy about, was like I was letting that affect the team. Like I wasn't playing well. Yeah. It was like, and I needed to play well for the team to, go better than what we were. Yeah. And then like all the Origin talk was coming as well. So, it was pretty crazy at the start of that year, but
You would have learned so much from it though.
Oh, 100%. Like, especially the end of that year. Like I think after Origin, we won a few games in a row. Like we're going a bit better. But like the end of that year, I was like, fuck, I need to like sort this out. I just need to,
100%.
I need to be better for like the club.
Yeah, I mean, because you become that guy, the club is relying on you. And I guess also you would have learnt, like, the same guys that were calling you the greatest and rah-rah, the next year they're fucking just India. And so it's like, you know what, like, you just can't even read into it.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, probably the biggest thing I've learned is just prioritising, like, who you listen to and whose opinion means the most to you. Like, I think that's
so true.
That's something that I've worked on the most. Everyone's got an opinion out there, and if you wouldn't take advice of someone, like why would I let their criticism affect me? So I think that was something that I did. I kind of just prioritized who I wanted to listen to, whose opinion meant something. And that was like family, close friends, my teammates, coaching staff. So it was just kind of like more listening to them, like doing what I need to do to make them happy, and my part in all of that.
Yeah, it's you're so true. Like even me to a much lesser extent, but like you have to, your time, like it's your time.
Yeah.
You have to choose where you put your time, and if you're giving other people your time, like they're taking something from you that you shouldn't be giving to them.
Yeah, exactly. And it eats you up too. Like
fucking
it's just it's like a rabbit hole. If you read one thing, it leads into another. You start worrying about what they're saying, and at the end of the day, I don't think you're ever going to be able to impress everyone or please everyone. So
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was the saying was so good. It's like the more people that love you, the more people are going to hate you. In the sense that like the bigger you get, no matter what you do, it's going to increase love, but it's also going to increase hate. And I was like, fuck, that's so true. Like you're never going to beat it. You're never going to beat it's just a fact that the more people that are going to know who you are going to hate you, but also love you. Yeah. So with your dad coming from Tigers, like that was just a tough situation, because like from the outside looking in, and I could be wrong, but it looks like it was like one of those things where I've got this opportunity of a lifetime. And yes, it's not the best way to handle it, but I understand that sacrifice is going to have to be made to get this opportunity of a lifetime kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Like, I think even Dad would say, like, the way it happened was just, like, kind of ugly, and I don't think he wishes it ever went that way. Like, he's quite similar. Like, he doesn't really like people hating him and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, it was an opportunity that was there, and as I said before, I just don't think... Like, it could have never come around again. Like, we'd kind of always spoken about wanting to eventually try it. We probably didn't think it would be that soon, but it was something that, we'd always wanted to do. And I guess if he passed up that opportunity, like, it may never have came around again, and it would just be a massive regret. But
it's like a rock and a hard place. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you got this momentous decision, and at the same time, you're a good person that doesn't want to hurt people's feelings.
And I think probably hit like Mum the hardest, because she was like seeing all these people kind of hating on Dad and that, and she was like, fuck, like is it even worth it? But I think Dad was always kind of like, I do really want to do this, and although it didn't really go the way I guess he wanted to with how it all panned out at the Tigers, it was just like I don't know how he was meant to do it, but
it's just the way life is. Life's messy. It's not, you know what I mean? It's just sometimes you're going to have to make a tough call. It's like when players get released from clubs, like it fucking sucks and it's messy, but it's just fucking life.
Yeah.
So 2019, is that when you extended as well?
Actually, no, it was in 2017 because it was there was like talks around me going to the Tigers to like link up with Dad.
Oh,
then.
yep.
I think it was the end of or maybe early 2018.
Okay.
So that was kind of the talks around, but I was always kind of pretty set on Penrith. Like, I liked it out there. Like I got a lot of mates out there. Outside of footy. I liked the area, and I think I just felt like I had so much more to do with Penrith.
Well, you got an opportunity to build a powerhouse there.
And at the end of the day, like they gave me like my debut like really early. Like they showed a lot of faith in me, and I definitely I do want to repay that still going forward. And I did love it out there, and I couldn't see myself leaving.
So was it a 5-year contract?
Yeah, 5 year. I think.
5 years. So you come off contract 2022.
Yeah, or 2023 maybe.
2023.
Yeah.
Okay, so this year, you have the year from hell last year, but this year rolls around, and have you seen as well like improvement in your father's coaching ability as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think even he says it like last year. I think he probably let it affect him too. So it's probably like a learning curve for both of us. And we're both kind of saying now like we're glad it happened kind of that early, and something you kind of get over and use that to kind of better ourselves too.
Absolutely, and it's not even just. The key player and the coach always grow together in situations like that. And you could tell this year, like it just seemed like this year you were like, you know what, we're going to put systems in place and we're not going to vary. We're going to believe in what we think is going to work.
Yeah.
So when you came into this preseason, actually so with seeing your dad turn it around, has that been something you've been incredibly proud of as well?
Yeah, for sure. Like, just so happy for him. I definitely knew it was like a hard time for him last year, and he was a bit kind of rattled, and then it was like kind of affecting like mum and that as well. Like she was hating seeing all this stuff. But,
negative stuff being said. And
but I think it's made like some of the good times we've had this year like a lot sweeter. Like just with what happened, and it's been awesome seeing him kind of improve and get better. And definitely
because he's people don't realize he's a relatively youngish coach. And so like even I've noticed like how much he's improved since I was under him, and don't get me wrong, I played fucking terrible, but but like I think we often forget that coaches, they're also learning their role. And they've actually had probably less time than we've had. It's not like you get to be a coach for 20 years before being a coach.
100%.
Because like this year I was just like blown away by just the whole setup, what you guys managed to put together. What about Trent Barrett? How much did he help your game this year?
Yeah, he helped massively. I think that's probably another thing, like Trent Barrett and Cameron Sciardo, along with Peter Wallace, who are on the coaching staff, like that, even Dad would say like they helped him heaps too, and they all had their systems that they brought in. I think everyone just bought into them too. Like everyone was just connected in what we were doing and the direction we were going. And Baz was for me. I'd kind of worked with him when I was a bit younger. He'd run like this kind of Playmakers Academy thing for the Penrith boys, and so I met him there. And then just being able to work with him this year, like he's unbelievable. He's super footy smart, and he definitely helped my game out a lot.
The boys, they came to me a while back. I think it was like 2019. But they're fucking legends, absolute legends. Who's the biggest pest in the side?
It'd have to be NATO or Liam Martin. They're like a dynamic duo.
I thought Luai would be the biggest pest.
Luai's like a bit, but he's probably more of like smart ass.
Okay.
Where they're like actually like annoying.
Yeah,
like then they'll work together too. So
yuck.
Yeah, it's
that is annoying.
Oh man,
and like
dramas.
teaming up so they could do even worse pranks and shit like that.
Like I kind of avoid the worst of their wrath, but
okay, who gets peppered the most?
Well, they'd start turning on each other. It's pretty funny.
Fucking hell, how good is that? If you could like put together a reality TV show of like a clubs thing and just like pick out the best scenes, it'd be so good. It'd be so good. Funny. What about the facilities? That's been fucking incredible at Penrith that you got what you've got there now.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like we're super lucky out there. We've got pretty much everything right there that we need. It's been and I think everyone just loves it. Like the gym's mad, got like a mad auditorium, ice baths and that. So we're very lucky to have that.
And also you like a bit of American sport. So you NBA?
Yeah, I go for Philly in the NBA. And
Bandwagon or what?
Nah, not bandwagon.
Massive,
Day one,
man. That's
day
the word. That's the word that's got out. Clearly, massive bandwagon.
They're not even gone that good, so I can't be a bandwagon.
They said you're a bandwagon, bro.
No, they all claim that, but I'm rock solid.
Okay, and what NFL? Who's your team?
Yeah, I have Philly in NFL as well.
Philly. Oh, massive bandwagon,
Mate,
didn't they?
They're ordinary this year.
But they were good. You started following them in like 2017.
Nah. Michael Vick days. That was day one.
Oh my god!
Day
Please, you just named the biggest player they've ever had. I don't know.
A bandwagon on that. But,
I don't know nothing about NFL, so I'm just talking shit. I ask all the boys this: favorite rapper of all time.
My favorite rapper.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's hard. Oh, I love J. Cole.
He's a gun.
Yeah,
he is a gun.
And we saw him live in Vegas last year.
Yeah.
Fuck, it was so sick.
Mate,
it was
he
so
is
cool.
a gun. And he sounds good live too.
Yeah, mate, he sung like every single lyric. You know,
Yeah.
like sometimes
Yeah.
live they'll just let the
Yeah.
thing behind
And
go.
you're like,
But
You sit there going,
but
like,
he was mad. Like I liked him before that, but then after that I was like,
fan.
yeah, sick.
What's crazy is like a few years ago, I got to see J. Cole into Kendrick into Eminem at Rapture.
Full lineup, bro.
Mate, it was hectic because it was like before J. Cole. Like J. Cole was kind of big, but and it's the same with Kendrick as well. But though I can't believe I got that lucky
Mate, that's
in
unreal.
ANZ Stadium as well. So
All of them on the same night.
yeah,
that's
bro,
mad.
it was so sick.
Yeah.
So fucking sick.
Yeah.
Favorite movie of all time?
Oh, I think it'd probably be Law Abiding Citizen.
That is a fucking great movie.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
That's like that was shocking in the sense of like I didn't expect it to be as like good as it was. I thought it'd be like
so
a
many
popcorn.
twists in it as well. I love it.
Absolutely.
I had The Longest Yard as well. That's probably up there.
Yeah, that is mad too. But what about comedy? Probably Longest Yard.
Yeah, probably Longest Yard. I was reckon you can watch that like however many times and you still enjoy it.
What, isn't there like a burger dude, the big dude?
Yeah, cheeseburger 80.
You're being a real McAsshole. That's a great. Who's the hardest player you've ever played against where you've just been like, fuck, he's just tearing us apart?
Oh, GI would be up there. He'd definitely be up there. I think. I don't know. I think he'd be up there.
Yeah, fuck, it was GI.
Yeah.
He's fucking unbelievable. If everything happens perfectly in the next 12 months, what are you doing and where are you?
Oh, I'd love to be able to win a premiership in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
And then hopefully be away somewhere if we're allowed to go with COVID and that. So,
Yeah, fucking hell.
yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be the dream. But definitely like the number one dream is to win a premiership.
Win a premiership and get the Origin trophy back.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on, brother. Really
thanks
appreciate
for having
it.
me, man. Appreciate it.
It's been good and good luck next year.
Yeah, cheers, brother. Thank
Boom.
you.